first time out on the track, you tell me he totally destroyed this car. But all Dick actually did was roll it over. It laid on the track, top to the traffic.
I think it was 33 Plymouth.
Yeah, 33 Plymouth Coupe. And we'll show you the car. I have another picture now, this picture here, and one of the car that I don't have before. But I have the picture of the car on another tape. I'm going to leave this one off and show you the one that I didn't have. So I don't like to duplicate pictures if I can help it. So, but that's the guy that owns the car there standing behind Dick. From Shelby. Quite a bit in this picture here. We're going to explain it to you as we go. Here's the guy that owned the car from Shelby. Dick drove this car. They wanted to go as fast as it could go, be a real fast car, and it already was a good looker. And they wanted to really have the neatest car around at that time. Very first race, Dick took it out, rolled it over, and it laid traffic to the top of the traffic, and somebody drove right in the roof. It hit so hard that in that other picture, Dick had a dent in his helmet when he got out of the car, from the other car hitting him on the head. Now, this guy right here is John Sutton. That's Ken Sutton's dad. Is there a dead block right there?
Dead block?
Yeah. Sure looks like it.
That could be.
But anyhow, we're gonna show you some different things as we go here and try to make it more interesting. And there's still a lot of cars on the track behind this picture. We're gonna do a close-up now and pull up some of those numbers. And anybody recognize any of these cars, names of people, just let me know, and I can go back in and voice it any time. Well, we know for sure number 4 is in there. Oops, I get my pointer going. There's number 4. This right here is 70 something. I'm not sure what it is though. Same race. They stopped the racer to pick Dick's car up out of the track. Well, there's a little bit better shot of John Sutton there, standing there facing him with a cigarette in his mouth. See if I can put my pointer in there. And there's John right there at the end of the pointer. This car here is 73 by the looks of it, or 72 maybe. But anyhow, if anybody recognizes any of these cars, this is at Whiskey Ridge, about 1950, 51, 52, probably at the latest.
We got a picture here of Ron Welcome's car. This picture, I think, was 1950. Earl Bolsey drove this car, and I think it was, is that the 4th of July, Paul?
Yep, 4th of July, 1950.
4th of July, 1950. This is supposed to be Earl Bolsey's last race. He was getting married, and this was the last race he was going to run. And I think he had fast time of the day with this car, and he got up on Hell's Turn up there, and he got sideways and bent out of shape, and he got killed in this car on July 4th, 1950.
And you can see right here the right rear wheel spun. They had spokes on a lot of these old cars, and these spokes spun right off the wheel, and evidently the other side too, because there's no wheel on the other side either, the way it's setting. And we're not sure who this OJ car is here, but it definitely says OJ. If anybody can lighten us up on that there, why, even though it's a death scene, this is one part of racing that we can't let go by, because these guys all risk their life for something that I love to do, Ken loves to do, and it could have been us at any one time. We've both been close ourselves, so it's no different playing football or anything else. It's a contact sport. We don't like to have it that way. We'd like to just be able to go out there and not have it be that, but that's the way it is, and the good has to go on with the bad, because otherwise these guys are forgotten forever, and it's not right. So this is why I do things the way I do them. I'm different, I guess. Must have been built different. You got anything else you want to say, Ken?
No, no, that's about it.
I'm going to go up closer and show you what they have on the dates up here. This is one of the few pictures that had a date on it. Some of them have a date on it that says May 27th. Now we'll get into some of this May 27th stuff, but I have no idea what year it is. I'll tell you it's May 27th. This here did explain itself. Death card, July 4th, 50. We don't know who, why. I'll tell you it was May 27th. This car here is nice and clean. That could possibly be Ken Henderson. He drove for Oman for a number of years and was really a good operator, and that could possibly be Ken Henderson in there because the car is nice and clean, and that's the way they always had their cars, nice and clean. Yeah, this could be 1951 or 2. We got no way of knowing. This is May 27th. Okay, now Ken Sutton and I have been talking back and forth now. 1950 on Bolsey's car there, that was mid-season. They didn't start until later on in 50. In May was run like in 51 or 52 because they didn't run that early in 50. So that's how we've determined now that this is either got to be 51 or 52. Probably 51. The very first race of the year or the month of May. And I don't know who that 63 car is. Now we have a couple of pictures of that car in different scenes, and if anybody can give us any light on this, just let me know who it is, and we can put it on tape anytime. So now we're going to say that's May 27th, 1951. And we'll give you a little bit of idea what the crowd's like. It's not bad. They're shoulder to shoulder. Racing straight in your shorts right there. Trying to, maybe not in his, but that cameraman there, he's down below him. One heck of a shot regardless, and there's a lot of dust in the air, so mercy, what a time. Whiskey Ridge, we're going to say that here is probably 51. Okay, it's Joe Crane's car right there, 50, that number 8 right there, and it's has to be May 27th, 51. Ken Sutton driving for Joe Crane. We're not sure who number 1 is here or number 2 is here. But also there's a car right behind Ken here that looks like he's giving Ken a little horsepower. And there's another car back here, and there's at least 2. There's one there and there's another one in that back window. He thinks his brother-in-law, Dick Peoples, was in that race too. If he was, we would say that there would have to be Dick right there in that 33 Plymouth. So this here is, like we're saying, May 27th, 1951. So it gives you some kind of an idea about when and where. And if you can help me out on any of these numbers, names of guys, we'd sure like to get it on the air to help fill up the film. Car laying on its side. This is coming off of the high turn, off the high hill there. It's laying on its side. There's a bunch of people up there. You can see how quick it's coming down. This is around the tight corner up there. But we're going to show you another picture of this car. Maybe we can give us a little better light on it. This is the same car, except now they got it on its wheels. It looks like it's probably stuck and they're rocking it. There's a guy inside. Looks like he's driving. The tow bar is still on the car. Right there. That's a set of wishbones, probably off another Ford front end. They must have bolted them right together. Whiskey Ridge, 1951. This picture here is faded pretty bad, but I want to show you something here now. We don't know who this is in 17 with a star on it. Roger wasn't home, so I couldn't find out from them. But in one of Ken Henderson's pictures, there was a 22 alongside of his Hudson, and there is 22 right there. And he said that was Gus Bray, and that very possibly could be Gus Bray right there. He got killed in 59 at Birchwood. And that could be a picture of Gus right there at Whiskey Ridge, 1950 or 51. We think that here might be Marv Chapka's car, number 2, 37 Chevy. It's got the number 2 on it, and it looks like it could be a 37 Chevy. And Ken, just when he looked at it, he said he thought that's whose car it was. Marv Chapka's. Yeah. Whiskey Ridge, probably 51. Ed Miller.
Ed Miller.
Ed Miller's car was that Whiskey Ridge. Here's Deadlock, we think. He also lived in Fremont. Ken knew him really well. Prairie accident. Now we'll find him in there, but he was a big husky man. One time Ken crashed bad, and it was down the bottom of Hell's Turn, down by the creek, and he was on the stretcher bringing him back up. So some of these guys were really just fantastic people. It looks to me like him and the other guy are going to tip this car right back on its wheel. Whiskey Ridge, 1951, probably. Here's Otto Kloss right here. Here's the car he drove. Give a better shot of him here in a second. Did you know who this was in 17 or not?
No, I didn't.
We didn't know who was in 17. But we're pretty sure this guy right here, that big chief himself, Gene Ripple. Now I'll show you this again. An Otto Kloss right here. That's Gene Ripple.
Yeah, that's how you did me. That's how you did.
We'll even have Gene take a look at this film here someday, and I'm sure he wants some of this here. He told me he did, so he'll want some of these old pictures, and I'll tell him I got him on TV. 1951, probably Whiskey Ridge. I figure that this is probably going to be 51, maybe even 52. We're figuring this is Ken Sutton driving Joe Crane's car. Now before you seen the black with the little tiny white stripe in there. Well, Ken said that back in those days you went through 2 or 3 different bodies in the years you raced back in those years. So we're figuring that by the running board right here you can see, and the number, and the way the rear fender was, and the way the front wheel looked, and the bumper, and he thinks that's her Joe Crane's number 8 that Ken Sutton was driving back in 51, 52. Also, you can see the end of the wall that they put up by Hell's Turn. Later, I'll show you some other pictures I have with cars running right down that sucker at the same angle that wall is. One wheel on, one wheel off. That was the first number 8 that Ken drove with Joe Crane right there. We think that this Hudson ahead of him is probably Kenny Henderson. This could possibly be Dick Peoples in that 33 Plymouth. There was another car that we spotted too. This guy right here, what was this guy's name right here? That little one that had the two-tone.
Oh.
I ain't got it on him, that's why you can't see it.
Oh, Ed Miller.
Okay, this car right here was Ed Miller's car. That 77 we showed you before. I forgot, there's 20 cars in this picture. And this has got to be 1951, probably. If you see anything in there that you recognize, I've got enough time lapse here that I can go back in and add voice to it. I just erase mine and put somebody's name in place of it. The music you hear is MUS, whatever's on. These are all still shots. The man that took these pictures is now deceased. His wife just got out of the hospital, and I think it was her granddaughter brought him to the racetrack for me to put over on the VCR tape, and I want to thank her for letting me do this. And this way it gives her an idea also what we do to these pictures so they can enjoy them a little bit more, because once all of us are gone, nobody will know who this was, where it was, or anything, because there's nothing on them to tell them this. So I run off the mouth sometimes a little bit long, but we're trying to get to explain so people can understand a little bit more about what we're doing. So we keep looking over these pictures and doing different things with this camera. The camera does a nice job for me. I just can't knock it. It really does a nice job. We couldn't tell for sure what those numbers were in the back. Now it looks like it's definitely 403. This is at Whiskey Ridge. Now we'll slide the picture across rather than move the camera. Howell Auto Parts.
Yeah.
So we can't tell where it is from for sure, and that 403 makes us think also that it's an out-of-towner, Grand Rapids or so forth. back in those years, a lot of times guys only run a car maybe 1 or 2 weeks, and the engine blew or whatever, and they never raced it again. But Ken Sutton and myself and Jim Wild is really the big pusher for us. We're going to rebuild 4 or 5 1948 and older vintage race cars and put them back out so people can see them, and we're going to race them at different tracks, different nights to do a little match racing and have some fun ourselves. Older guys having fun with the big toys. I don't know who this 50 is. We're sure it's probably out of Grand Rapids, because that 50 car ballpark appliance, number 50. We'll show you some more of this right here. And I think that Ford right there that's rolling, right there, I think we have a picture of that there in this next picture facing us. The third car I don't even see. It can't be the same picture though, because the driver is not in 50 right now, and in this picture he is. There you are. 3 cars. 3 different cars. Except for 50. 50 is the only one we can see good and clear. I'm going to go up and take a facial shot of the one guy up on top of the one car, and the one guy's got a helmet, but you can also see the guy in 50 still sitting inside his car. I think the guy holding the helmet is just a guy that got there quicker than everybody else. I think the guy that's standing up in the air there with that kerchief on his face is probably driving that car that's on its side. I think this other guy was just an innocent bystander or down in the pit area and is standing there holding his helmet when the guy's climbing out of the car or over it or whatever. You can definitely see the guy is in 50, but I can even figure see his face. That was Don Potter right there. We had a little problem with this film now that we went in there and looked. The rewind, or not rewind, but the reel somehow got slack in it, and we lost 4 pictures. And so now we're going to go back and redo them. Now we know we did lose them. With the radio going, and we got the doors open and everything, and enjoying a little fresh air, so we'll get a little bit better shot of this vehicle. That's what the picture is. This here 42 is Don Potter. We figured he's out of Muskegon. But now, this is what the whole picture looks like. We do close-ups once in a while to show something I want everybody to be able to see. You could read his name on the door, so. We lost 4 pictures here a little bit ago, so now we'll go back and redo them 4 and get them on the good side of the tape. I want everybody to be able to see. This is Whiskey Ridge. So here's fairly flat right in here. You start climbing hill here. Now you're to the peak here. This is what they call Hell's Turn. There's a wall up here now. 46, 47, 8. There wasn't any wall there. You went downhill from there to here. Now you start uphill. This is the big high turn we talk about. Now you go back downhill again. This is fairly flat. This is where the judges' stand was. These are all spectators' cars parked around here, and this is a picture of the old barn. I can't quite see it. I have to turn my camera over here a little bit more. But here's a picture of the barn you see in a lot of the pictures. You see it reversed. You see pictures are most ain't taken from downstairs. These are down by the racetrack. These are here. This one here is an aerial shot. If the 8mm is on the film you have, this here's the road that we talk about. The sign used to be down in here on the way down the pit road. This here was the pit road here. There was also one over in here that went down, but that there got so sandy they quit using that one and used this one. These are the cars up on top of the hill over here. There's only one racetrack like it in the world. That's it right there. That's Whiskey Ridge. They've cut it now, so this picture here will be the original Whiskey Ridge. Now it cuts through here somewhere and comes back out here. They don't go by Hell's Turn anymore. This is when Fisk run it back in 46, 7, 8, 47. I think it was, I can't remember right off now. They went to Texas for a while, so it was in the 50s when they got back, like 1950. So anyhow, we're just trying to show you some of the history of short track racing around this part of Michigan. This is where it first started, was here, 46, and the guys went to Marne in 47 and organized that over there, and then Chester took over in 48. Whoops, take it back, 49, because there wasn't any races run at Marne in 48. Here's Whiskey Ridge also. This car here is 17, a little white coupe with the little star on it. We don't know who these two cars are here, but who took these pictures has really got an eye and a skill for getting the picture on the action. It looks like that could be a number 1 there, but it's hard to say. But that's Whiskey Ridge, 1951, probably 1950, somewhere in there. One of the 63 is from, we thought it was from Grand Rapids, but I looked at the phone number, and Harry's Transmission Service. We thought it was Grand Rapids by the looks of the phone number. That's down about across from the Flagman area, down in there. 603, we think is out of Grand Rapids also, or maybe even Greenville. Hard to say, I can't tell for sure down there, but better built kitchens. 603, and we're at Whiskey Ridge. That guy's door is already open. Can't really tell for sure what number's on that car with the door open. And there's one ahead of him, so this is over on Hell's Turn. And also there's another car. Just caught the tail end of it right there. They even had a spare tire kit on the back. Some of these guys even left the spare tires on, so. Whiskey Ridge, 1950-51. Well, we know now, this here is Earl Bosey's car. They got killed in 1950, July 4th, 1950. Earl Bosey was killed right here in this car. It's Ron Welcome's car. You've seen it on all 4 wheels right side up before, but this is Bosey's car. They was killed in right here at Whiskey Ridge, July 4th, 1950. You see the wheel, the spokes are run right off the wheel. Some gully there off of Hell's Turn. There's a bunch of stuff they used to throw in that one washout there, and this car is down in there. There's also a car right there. There's a car laying on its side up there amongst them people. But there's a guy down the gully, so. Anyhow, this is Whiskey Ridge back in the 50s. Were given to me to put on videotape by Georgia Bryant, Blackie Bryant's wife. Here's Whiskey Ridge. The number 6 is a 38 Ford. The car rolling over is number 3, and I think it's out of Grand Rapids. I have it in movies. It's going to be also on tape people buy or want to see, and it's going to be on George's tape. That is number 3, and this here is the hard roll he takes here, and I have both rolls on videotape, and we'll show you on 8mm how hard this car rolls. It's number 3, and I think it's out of Grand Rapids. And this is all pictures given to me to put on VCR tape by Georgia Bryant. So that's Blackie Bryant's wife. Blackie was a brother to Willie Bryant that helped Roger Johnson get Thunderbird into shape. That pointer was pointed at Bob Clover. This is the same car, just a different shot of it after it got tipped back up on its wheels. Chicago Drive, I'm sure, is out of Grand Rapids, and it's number 3. It's a 33 Ford 2-door. And I believe the pointer was pointed there at Bob Clover before, but this is how he picked these cars out. We have quite a few of them on movies now, and all these still pictures just make it that much easier to identify them. So I want to thank you again, Georgia, for letting me take the time to do this, and I'm hoping that you're going to be happy with what you see. Whiskey Ridge, 1950 to 52. This picture here is just of them bringing somebody up out of the, looks to me like Hell's Turn. We have a picture of Ken Sutton on a stretcher one time, back in the early 50s. He had a flipping iron break and he went down to the creek. And this possibly could have been Ken Sutton here. We don't know. There's no name or anything on the picture, so we're just showing you all these pictures that were taken, and somebody might be able to tell us somewhere along the way. Whiskey Ridge in early 50s. This car over here is right at the end of Hell's Turn by the looks of things. Looks like it could also be out of Grand Rapids. Five car could possibly have been Bill Wilsey. I would say that's probably the driver right there. This guy here's got 41 on his shirt. That could even be Bob Clover, but I don't know if Bob was running number 41 back in those years or not. Whiskey Ridge, early 50s. Up in here is number 12. So here's easy to read, 17 cars. That possibly could be Roger Jonason, but he's gone tonight, so I can't really tell you. I called, but he's over to the MABA race over at Flint. Next week we'll be at their house at Thunderbird. So this gives you the time and day that we're doing this. I do most of these videos on Wednesdays to get this stuff done so I can return the pictures on the weekend. So I only have them like 7 days and I give them back. Then it takes me a while to get a tape together because like this one right here, I had trouble with the tape come out of the player. So now we have to go to that point and then turn it off and go through the bad spot in the film and then start over again. This is not a 5-minute operation. 17 and 12, Whiskey Ridge. This picture here pretty well explains itself. We're sure this here is number 12. That could even be Ken Henderson back there. We don't know who are in these two look-alike Fords, even though they aren't exactly. This one here has a narrower strip of white on it than this one. Nice looking cars. Whoever took these pictures was really a good photographer. Whiskey Ridge in the early 50s. 12, that Hudson we were showing you before, I tried to group these pictures up. They had the same cars in the pictures at different spots in the track. So this one here is carrying checkered flags. So that means you won at least one. I'm not sure if flawless heating is either, but we figured Grand Rapids 43 car that's in quite a few pictures. He's on the racetrack. The other guy's up on the wall in Hell's Turn that they put up there in 51 or 2. Whiskey Ridge, action pictures. Well, there's 4 cars in the same photo. This one's riding down the wall. 25, he's already out running. 43, and we don't know what number that there is. So you got 2 had a problem and 2 racing. Whiskey Ridge, early 50s. The number 7's a Ford. Looks like it could be a Plymouth to me. Could be even a Pontiac, probably. Whiskey Ridge. In the 50s. And down that gully, they had all the wood and so forth. Can't tell you what kind or what number it is. The picture's faded pretty bad, and that's the best we can get out of it. Faded quite badly too. This is number 7, laying on its side. I don't know where at the ridge, but it is definitely at the ridge. The 77 is Ed Miller's car. The number 2 is Gordy Vanderlaan out of Grand Rapids. Gordy got hurt seriously in early 60s, about 62, and was paralyzed from the waist down. And but that is him and Reliable Motors, Reliable Motor Supply out of Grand Rapids.